John Harbaugh was raised on the mythology of Cleveland football. His family's ties to Northeast Ohio run deep, and he's never hidden his admiration for the franchise. So when the Ravens shockingly cut ties, the door opened for what might be the most poetic full-circle moment in modern NFL history. Jimmy Haslam, ever aggressive, has reportedly prepared a $200 million bid to bring Harbaugh home. Not just a coach, but to rebuild a culture, to restore identity, and to lead the Browns out of decades of dysfunction. If Harbaugh signs, it's not just a hiring, it's a reclamation of legacy. But sentiment alone won't get it done. The true impact lies in Harbaugh's fit with Shedeur Sanders, a potential franchise quarterback with the tools to thrive under the right leadership. Harbaugh's knack for maximizing talent, adapting his schemes, and commanding respect in the locker room is exactly what Sanders and the Browns need. In a league defined by elite coach-QB duos, if you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Cleveland has a rare chance to create its own. The only question left is whether Haslam and GM Andrew Berry will move decisively enough to make it real. When news broke that the Baltimore Ravens were parting ways with head coach John Harbaugh, nobody could quite believe it. After all, Harbaugh wasn't just another NFL coach. He was the guy. A Super Bowl ring, a 180-113 record, and over 15 years of building one of the most stable, respected programs in the league. Letting go of someone with that kind of track record was more than just a personnel decision. It was a lightning bolt across the NFL, and it didn't take long before rumors started swirling. At the center of that storm, Jimmy Haslam, owner of the Cleveland Browns, who apparently decided that if the Ravens were willing to let Harbaugh go, then he was more than willing to pounce. Not just with interest, but with the kind of offer that turns heads and breaks records. We're talking about a $200 million offer to bring Harbaugh back to Ohio. Not just a coach, but to lead a franchise that spent years wandering the NFL wilderness, desperate for direction. Harbaugh wasn't a random target. His ties to Cleveland are deep. His father, Jack Harbaugh, coached at Western Michigan and Bowling Green. His brother, Jim, played quarterback for the Browns. There's a sense of unfinished business in the air. Like this was a move that always should have happened, but never did. And now, it might. That $200 million figure isn't just about getting a name. It's about sending a message. The Browns are tired of cycling through experiments. They want a proven winner. Harbaugh has already shown he can build a culture, win with different quarterbacks, and deal with the grind of the tough AFC North Division. He's won playoff games with Joe Flacco. He's built an entire offense around Lamar Jackson. The man adapts and wins. And that's exactly what Cleveland needs. The Browns haven't had a season to remember in years. Even their recent playoff appearances felt like flashes, not a foundation. When they chased Deshaun Watson, it was clear the organization was willing to take big swings. That mindset hasn't changed. If anything, this Harbaugh chase proves it's accelerating. Hiring Harbaugh isn't just about the coaching staff. It's about setting up a culture shift, one that pairs elite leadership with young talent, rather than hoping one side eventually figures it out. The Browns know that hiring Harbaugh could reset their identity and finally break them out of the endless reboot cycle they've been stuck in for decades. Which brings us to Shedeur Sanders. Yes, the Browns have been linked to him, and for good reason. He's talented, marketable, and maybe most importantly, moldable. Harbaugh has made a career out of working with quarterbacks who were either overlooked, underestimated, or underdeveloped. There's a track record here, and it lines up perfectly. Think about it. Flacco, Lamar, and now, potentially, Shedeur. It's a natural next step. Harbaugh's ability to build systems that play to his quarterback strengths could be exactly what Sanders needs to thrive in the NFL. And if the Browns are serious about drafting or trading for Shedeur, having a coach like Harbaugh already in place could be the difference between another failed experiment and a franchise-defining era. Segment. Of course, this isn't just about Jimmy Haslam writing a check. The decision will also fall on general manager Andrew Berry, who's no stranger to high-risk moves. The question is whether he and Haslam are aligned enough to go all in again. When they pursued Watson, it wasn't just a football decision. It was a headline move. It was controversial, aggressive, and undeniably bold. This is another one of those moments. And Barry knows the stakes. He knows that bringing in Harbaugh isn't just about a new playbook. It's about attracting talent, energizing the locker room, and changing perception of the Browns organization overnight. It's rare to find a coach who can do all of that. Rarer still to find one actually. The Shedeur connection only adds urgency. If the Browns truly want to land both Harbaugh and Sanders, the timing has to be perfect. The coaching vacancy is open now. The quarterback window is coming fast. Teams that wait too long end up with leftover options and missed opportunities. Haslam and Barry are facing a scenario where hesitation equals failure. And it's not like Harbaugh is going to sit on the market forever. Multiple franchises are reportedly interested. Some have cap space. Some have quarterbacks ready to go. The Browns' pitch? It's got to be emotional, strategic, and financial at the same time. Harbaugh knows Ohio. He knows the city. If there's any pull towards sentiment, this is where it would work. Barry's role becomes even more critical when you start to factor in the roster as it stands. There are gaps, no question. Harbaugh would be walking into a team that's still figuring itself out. But if the GM and head coach are aligned from day one, there's a chance to build something sustainable. Not a flash-in-the-pan playoff run. Something real. Harbaugh doesn't shy away from long-term projects. Baltimore had seasons of injuries, retirements, and quarterback changes. Yet, year after year, they remain competitive. That's the model Barry is likely studying right now. He doesn't need perfection. He needs resilience. He needs a guy who can elevate average players and keep egos in check. Harbaugh is that guy. For Shedeur Sanders, the chance to learn under a coach like Harbaugh could be a career changer. Sanders isn't a finished product yet. He's raw, athletic, confident, but still growing. Being thrown into a bad system or paired with a weak coaching staff could stunt that development. The Browns have a chance to avoid that. This isn't just about picking a name off the draft board. It's about matching talent with infrastructure. And the infrastructure starts with coaching. With Harbaugh in place, Sanders would get real mentorship, real development, not just QB camps and playbook installs, but game-ready experience under a coach who understands how to build systems around a young quarterback's strengths. Cleveland fans have heard promises before. They watch the revolving door of coaches, quarterbacks, and front office hires. But this is different. This isn't a rookie coordinator or an interim solution. This is a shot at one of the most successful coaches of the last 20 years. A guy with playoff wins, Super Bowl pedigree, and something to prove. If the Browns can pull this off, it's not just a win on paper. It's a signal that they're done playing small, done rebuilding, done watching the AFC North run past them year after year. The Harbaugh hire would be a declaration. That Cleveland is here, and they're done waiting. What makes this whole thing even more surreal is that the Ravens let it happen. A franchise known for consistency just let go of its most consistent piece. And now their rival might scoop them up with a record-setting deal. That's not just poetic. It's nuclear. Baltimore's decision to move on from Harbaugh reset the entire coaching market. Now other teams are scrambling. Cleveland, though, has the edge. Geography, sentiment, and desperation all favor them. Harbaugh landing with the Browns wouldn't just change one franchise. It would shift the power dynamics of the entire AFC. If they land him and pair him with Shedeur Sanders, it's a blueprint. Coach and quarterback. Stability and upside. And for once, Cleveland would be ahead of the curve, not chasing it. So what happens next? That's up to... But the window is open, and everyone's watching. If you're fired up about the Browns finally making a power move, or totally against betting the future on Harbaugh and Shedeur, drop your take in the comments. Let's hear what side you're on. And if you want to keep following the biggest NFL drama plays like this one, hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. When Shedeur Sanders stepped up to the podium during his last media availability, he didn't say anything wild. No guarantees. No drama. But the undertone was clear. He knows the spotlight's coming. He's a quarterback who plays with poise and confidence, and the NFL world is watching to see where he lands. Pairing him with a Super Bowl winning coach like John Harbaugh wouldn't just give him structure, it would give him instant credibility. The Browns know how rare it is to align all these pieces. An available franchise coach, a quarterback prospect with star potential, and an ownership group finally ready to throw everything at the wall to win. That combination doesn't come along often, and Cleveland can't afford to let it slip away. Behind closed doors, this is where the real tension is brewing. Jimmy Haslam has a history of making splashy decisions, some bold, some reckless. But this one has the potential to define his legacy. Offering $200 million for a head coach isn't just about making headlines. It's about signaling that the franchise is all in a way few teams ever are. This isn't a move you make if you're planning for a rebuild. This is what you do when you believe the future is now. Haslam is staring down a once-in-a-decade opportunity, and the weight of the fan base's frustration is pushing against that decision. The Browns have spent years at the edge of relevance. One move could pull them over the top. The NFL is a league of quarterback head coach pairings. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes changed the modern playbook. They're the gold standard. But it didn't happen just because Mahomes had talent. Reid knew how to bring it out, knew how to build around it. And that's exactly the kind of dynamic Cleveland is trying to replicate. They don't need to copy Kansas City style. They need to mimic its formula. Proven coach meets rising QB. Let the rest unfold. Harbaugh and Shedeur could be that kind of duo, not identical, but strategically aligned. Harbaugh's done it before. Shedeur wants to do it now. That synergy is what teams dream of building. Harbaugh's work with Lamar Jackson changed perceptions. People doubted whether Lamar could succeed in a traditional system. Harbaugh scrapped that idea. He designed a system that elevated Lamar's strengths instead of limiting them. And the result? An MVP season, playoff appearances, and a revived offense that kept defensive coordinators scrambling. If he brought that same adaptability to Cleveland, Shedeur would benefit from a coach who doesn't force schemes, but adapts them. Harbaugh doesn't try to fit players into outdated molds. He builds around their skill set. And with Shedeur's combination of mobility, arm talent, and field awareness, the possibilities open wide. Shedeur Sanders' interview, Shedeur has said it himself. He's not just playing to play. He's building a brand. He wants to be part of something real. But that only happens if the situation is right. Cleveland can offer a fan base hungry for a leader. They can offer national attention. And with Harbaugh, they can offer football stability. He doesn't want to walk into a broken system. He wants to build something with people who've built before. Harbaugh brings that credibility. Shedeur brings a spark. And if the Browns are serious, that combo could finally end the quarterback carousel that's haunted them for years. Browns fans have seen Jimmy Haslam at games, on the sidelines, even given an occasional fist pump after a rare win. But those moments haven't translated into meaningful change. Until now, a $200 million contract isn't just about hiring Harbaugh. It's about committing to a complete football vision. It's easy to spend on players. But spending on infrastructure, coaching, culture, that's where owners separate themselves. And Haslam has a chance to prove he's not just throwing money at problems. He's finally understanding where it matters most. The field is the product, but the sidelines run the show. Shedeur Sanders, preseason, postgame. Preseason doesn't mean much to most fans, but for rookies, it's everything. And for someone like Shedeur Sanders, it's the first glimpse of how he'll translate to pros. Harbaugh doesn't waste those moments. He used preseason snaps to build up Lamar, to evaluate Flacco's replacements, to mold talent without burning them out. That's what Shedeur would get. Structure. A preseason with intention. Game reps that aren't just for show, but for shaping. That's the difference between surviving the NFL and thriving in it. And Harbaugh has the blueprint. The worst-case scenario for any young quarterback is being wasted, thrown into chaos, left on the bench too long, or rushed too fast. With Harbaugh, there's balance. He doesn't coddle, but he doesn't burn guys out either. He managed Lamar's injuries, protected him from unnecessary exposure, and still kept the offense competitive with minor issues or simply waiting his turn. Harbaugh's history says he'll still be learning still progressing. That's the kind of environment Cleveland has never truly provided, and it's why this pairing feels so essential. Harbaugh brings order. The Browns need that order. Matches master collection. Cleveland's track record is brutal. It's not just the losses, it's the way they lose. Blown leads, locker room meltdowns, mid-season firings. The Browns aren't known for stability. They're known for resets. And that's what this moment is trying to fix. Bringing in Harbaugh and drafting Shedeur isn't about hype. It's about shutting the revolving door and locking in a plan. Fans have been patient, probably more than they should have been. But this would be different. This would be a future with a face, a sideline with a purpose. Segment. Haslam has watched years of broken plays from the sideline. He's seen preseason optimism fade into Week 8 finger-pointing. But this is the first time he's had a clear shot at something proven. Harbaugh isn't theory. He's not potential. He's a finished product with wins to prove it. Walking that practice field next year with Harbaugh in charge would feel different. Players would notice. Agents would notice. Fans already are. It's not just about football. It's about shifting how people talk about Cleveland. From punchline to power move. So now the pressure builds. Not on Harbaugh. Not on Shedeur. But on the people who write the checks. Haslam and Barry are sitting on a decision that could define the next decade of Browns football. If they swing and miss, they go back to rebuilding again. But if they hit, everything changes. If you look at Shedeur Sanders' recent performances, you see more than just stats. You see flashes, moments where everything clicks. Deep throws with touch, clean pocket reads, a calm presence even under pressure. These are the signs that franchises look for when deciding to bet big, and the Browns might be ready to bet it all. They aren't just scouting for talent. They're searching for alignment. It's not enough to draft a quarterback anymore. You have to pair them with the right system, the right mentor, and a long-term vision. That's what makes the idea of Harbaugh and Shedeur so powerful. You're not building from scratch. You're building with purpose. Of course, this whole pursuit raises another awkward question. What happens to Kevin Stefanski? As of now, he's still the head coach. But in the NFL, timing is brutal and opportunities don't wait. Harbaugh becoming available shifts everything. If ownership truly believes they can land a generational coach, they won't hesitate. Stefanski hasn't been a disaster. He even earned Coach of the Year once. But with an inconsistent offense and a carousel at quarterback, the patience is wearing thin. This wouldn't be personal, it would be strategic. A bold pivot aimed at something bigger. Something transformational. Meanwhile, Shedeur keeps grinding. Whether it's film sessions, reps with trainers, or quiet workouts away from cameras, his focus hasn't shifted. He's preparing for the NFL as if he already knows the way to what's coming. And that professionalism, that maturity, it's part of why he's being taken seriously as a long-term starter. For the Browns, that's exactly the kind of mindset they need. A young QB who doesn't flinch, who doesn't collapse under pressure, who sees every practice as a step towards something greater. Pair that mentality with Harbaugh's structure, and suddenly Cleveland isn't rebuilding, they're reloading. Segment. The Harbaugh-Sanders vision hinges on trust between Haslam and Barry. If they're not on the same page, the whole thing unravels. But all signs point to this being a united front. They've made controversial moves before. This one, by comparison, makes football sense. The urgency isn't just about winning. It's about not getting left behind. The AFC is stacked. Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. The Browns can't wait another 3 seasons to figure it out. This is a chance to skip the rebuild and start competing. Now, not later. It's rare to say the Browns have leverage, but right now, they kind of do. Harbaugh wants the right situation, and Cleveland can offer him control, loyalty, and a quarterback tailor-made for his playbook. There's no quarterback controversy waiting to explode. There's no front office dysfunction, at least not right now. Just an opening. The organization has been here before, on the verge of something big, but this feels different. This is legacy territory. Bringing home a proven winner to lead a team full of untapped potential. If they lock this in, they're not chasing playoffs. They're building contender. Segment. One of the big worries with young quarterbacks is durability. If they go down early, it can derail everything. But this is where Harbaugh's experience becomes even more valuable. He's managed injury-prone seasons without burning out his quarterbacks. He knows how to balance risk with development. If Shedeur needs time to recover, Harbaugh won't panic. He'll adjust the scheme, protect the depth chart, and keep the team competitive. That flexibility is exactly what Cleveland has lacked. Previous coaches either overreacted or underprepared. Harbaugh plans for the real test comes on game day. That's when all the speculation ends. If Shedeur's in a Browns uniform, fans won't care about hype, they'll care about execution. And that's where Harbaugh shines. His game day management is surgical. He doesn't just react. He anticipates. The league will watch every snap, every adjustment, every audible. But with Harbaugh in his ear, Shedeur won't be guessing. He'll be guided. And if the Browns can give him even a decent supporting cast, the growth could be fast. Because now it's not just about talent. It's about Barry's going to face the heat no matter what. If he doesn't act, fans will say he blew it. If he does act and it fails, the blame lands squarely on his shoulders. But this is the job. GMs don't get credit for playing it safe. They get remembered for swinging big. And in this case, the swing is calculated. You're not gambling on an untested coach or an unknown rookie. You're building around people with clear value. Harbaugh knows how to win. Shedeur wants to win. Cleveland needs to win. It's a triangle of urgency that can't be ignored. This isn't just another headline. It's a crossroad. And if the Browns make the right decision, they won't just change their own fate. They'll shift the power balance of the entire AFC. Think this could actually work? Think it's just another Cleveland delusion? Drop your take in the comments. Blow up that like button if you want this duo to happen. And hit subscribe if you're ready for the Browns to finally make it real.